All right. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. This is what happens when you have two little kids and things when you're about to start something go wrong. So here we are. Welcome back. I see the chat pretty funny. I'm on homie time today. I'm cooking something. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Rough day at the office. Yeah. Yeah. Not rough day. Just many things have popped up as I was trying to start this stream over and over and over again. But we are finally live here. Let me know how the sound is. Can you guys hear me? Oh, there we go. Yeah, my mic was unplugged. Yeah. It's just been running around this morning. And I don't know why the first stream was saying 8:40. That was an accident. That was just my mistake putting that up there. But we are here. Welcome back. I did decide to finish my egg sandwich before coming on to the stream, so you guys wouldn't have to watch me. I saw some comments on my last stream after on the VOD where people were like, "Why did you start the stream before eating your sandwich?" Well, because I was excited. I was excited to jump on here and talk with you guys. Welcome everybody. Thank you for jumping in. Thank you for waiting. As that was a long wait. That was a long wait. I think that was about 15 minutes before I did go live. So how's everybody's weekend going? What are you guys playing? Let me know in the comments below. There's a bunch of stuff that I do want to talk about. Bunch of stuff I do want to talk about today. And it's been an interest we are at that point where I feel like almost every week now there's something interesting to talk about. There's some cool stuff that we will be going over, especially because we're getting closer to the next gen, which is going to be continuously happening as we move forward until it's eventually released. Sorry, 1 second here. I'm getting some weird echo on my. Why is that echoing? Is it my. Could it be here? Could it be here? Could it be there? Nope. What is playing, echoing in my ears right now? All right, so got a couple topics on today. We'll get started soon here in a second, guys. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, I'm just gonna take that off. Okay. All right, so we're gonna talk about a couple of things today. Obviously, the whole Xbox console PC has been hilarious. I don't know if you guys have been tracking all the drama going on around that. I don't really want to get into the drama side of things, but I think it's kind of hilarious some of the discussions that we are seeing online as to whether a PC is or the Xbox is a PC or a console. It's we're gonna get this is going to continue through the entire thing. To be honest, if you think about the actual definition of a console, um, it's very, very broad. It can be literally be anything. And we'll talk about that. There's also um the in DLSS 5 stuff, which has been pretty nuts, and there's more information that's coming out about that, and it seems like some people's worst fears are actually coming true based on what exactly what the thought is as to whether this is actually full dev control or if this is just some sort of weird AI filter. For me, I've talked about this throughout the week, and it's like DLSS 5 is somewhat concerning, especially if it's just a really weird filter. Um, and we'll get into that because there is some more information that has come out about that. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Um, and so we'll talk about that because there's been more information that kind of is pointing towards people's worst nightmares when it does come to this, but we'll see. Obviously, the thing is when it comes to DLSS 5 is going to be how the devs are able to control everything on that end. Um, but if you guys are just jumping in here, welcome. This is my podcast that I'm starting right now, just solo at this point. Maybe at some point in the future, I'll have people on because that will just, guess, make it more dynamic and stuff. But right now, just me solo talking about stuff during the week and um going over things that I didn't talk about or stuff I want to get more in depth. This morning has been just crazy with like stuff happening, kids running around, and I was supposed to have this time and then stuff came up. So that's why you guys have been waiting for me to jump on here for so long. And generally it'll be around this time, 11, 11:30, maybe 12 if stuff does get pushed. I don't know why it showed up as 8:40 a.m. That was just, my fault, probably meant to put 11:40 or something, and then it ended up as 8:40, so it won't ever be at 8 AM on Saturday mornings, like, I'm not able to hit that at 8 AM, but welcome, guys, welcome to the stream. Right now, I have it on subscriber mode for chat, so if you wanna chat and stuff, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'll read some comments at the end, but I'm gonna go through all the news before any of that, so I'm gonna unpin this comment here because that's probably still showing up there and I don't want that showing up there. Um, but how is everybody doing? Crimson Desert is the big game. Is how many people have jumped into that? Because I've seen some issues right with Crimson Desert this over the last few days with the Xbox app, which I think is kind of ridiculous. That they need to get that stuff worked out. If they want any chance to compete with Steam and any like even just to take a small slice of the pie from Steam, because I don't think they'll ever be able to take like a major part of it. If they want any chance with it, they need to work out that shit when it comes to the Xbox app on PC, where to me personally, it's like, okay, whatever. Like for this is just my personal opinion. I'm not trying to like make excuses for them at all because I think it's ridiculous that there were issues. But Crimson Desert wasn't loading up, wasn't preloading, which whatever, I'll wait until it launches. It wasn't loading up at launch for some reason. You had to do some weird thing like going offline. And I know if that was happening to me, I would have just played something else, knowing that obviously it was going to get fixed in the next little bit. But it's unacceptable in general for the reality of most people who are pre ordering a game, which I don't really pre order stuff because I think pre ordering in the digital era is kind of stupid unless you're getting something like that you have to pre order it for. We're not in a time where games run out of stock. Like it's a digital game. You never actually have to pre order a game ever. But people still do, and they want to preload it. They want to pre-install it onto their PC or whatever so that they can play it right away. And if you've been waiting for this game for so long, and then all of a sudden you have to wait longer to play it, it's so stupid. So they gotta fix this shit because this is gonna if this is something that carries over to Project Helix, there's going to be issues. There's absolutely going to be issues. And this will be something that everyone's talking about on a weekly basis. The PR will be terrible. So they got to make sure that this is 100% before Project Helix does end up dropping. And that is here. This is the Xbox support put out a fix, but I think now it's just fixed overall. Like if you go to the Xbox app, it is actually updated and it should be able to launch, but there was an issue where the game just wasn't launching. The game wasn't launching and people weren't able to jump in, and that was because of some sort of weird thing going on with being online. I guess you have to unplug your internet, something crazy, something stupid like that, that you have to unplug your internet before jumping in and all that. So we have Tom Warren here saying these weird bugs happen far too often with game launches on the Xbox app for PC. I can't remember the last time I had a problem buying or downloading a game on Steam, and I would 100% agree with that. I don't remember the last time that has happened, but Xbox put this out. We're aware that some players are experiencing crashes when launching Crimson Desert from the Xbox app on PC. To fix this, open the Microsoft Store, go to downloads and check for updates. So after the update, apparently it has worked. Or press the Windows plus R and paste the MS Windows Store, this thing in there. So that is ridiculous. And you see some of the comments here, people trying to go in there and make work. But apparently it is working for most now. You can have some people won't launch offline. I don't know if the won't being able to not launch offline is an Xbox problem or if it is the game inputting that because they have de novo on there, right? So that could just be the developers. Not 100% sure about that, but regardless, it's ridiculous that that is happening. They got to fix that. They got to fix that going forward for Project Helix, or they're going to be in a world of trouble with people. Not even like they've probably lost a lot of people's money just by asking for a refund. I think the enticing thing for buying it on the Xbox app on for PC is Play Anywhere. Like, that's why I would want that there. But the reality is people want to play day one, and they don't want to wait an extra 24 hours for it to get fixed. They're just going to return it and go to Steam. I know, like I said, for me, I would have just waited because I want to Play Anywhere, and it's unfortunate that you're not able to get in, but they got to fix that. Adidas 20, welcome in. Member for 53 months. That is insane. That's a very long time. I appreciate that, man. I've seen you here. See you in the comments on my videos. Appreciate all the support that you've been giving me. So that's awesome. 53 months there for Adidas 20. But yeah, in the comments, let me know. Is anybody having issues with Crimson Desert? Is your game loading up? Were you able to get in and all that? This person's Erican says, first time ever I've had an issue with the Xbox app. That's fair. I haven't had very many issues, but you're seeing the stories come out, right? Oh, this is an ongoing thing. This is an ongoing issue or whatever it is. But personally, haven't had any. But Crimson Desert, they got to figure, or Xbox needs to fix that stuff going forward. Like when Project Helix does come out, they can't happen. Like it just can't happen. And if it does happen, it needs to be fixed almost immediately. There can't be like a 24-hour delay as to what is going on. Or you're just gonna see just nonstop stupidity online about that console. Okay. So let's talk console PC because this was a thing that had everyone going. Now, I put out a poll. It was a question, and it's funny because I didn't actually mean to do that. But if you didn't select console, you would have gotten the answer wrong, which kind of plays into the whole debate now whether the Project Helix is a console or PC. I'll give my stance on it before I get into the article. I think it doesn't really matter. Depending on how you like, if you look at the definition of what a console is, it's literally an electronic device that is connected to a screen for playing games. Like that is what basically the definition of a console. So in that sense, it absolutely is a console. You take a look at what's under the hood of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S. They're both basically the same. They're both like almost PC architecture in a way. Yes, they have the SoC and stuff, so they don't have separate CPU and GPU and all of those things. But games are developed the exact same way across all of these platforms right now, with where they're just optimized for the different SoC under it, but they both have x86 architecture. They're the different speeds of the CPU, like all of that is where the optimization comes in. This isn't like where we were with people. I think when this debate pops up today, which is weird, people still think that we are in the generations where you have completely different architectures under each console and every game needs to be developed specifically for that architecture. We've been away from that for a very long time. Going forward into the next gen, everything that we've heard from what Xbox is saying is that it is the console PC hybrid where you're getting your console games. The argument now is whether all of the backwards compatibility is going to be via emulation, which to me, I don't care. If the game runs great, plays great, I don't know why that is a big deal. Or is it going to be like the native versions of the Xbox Series X games? Of course, we don't know all of that information as of right now. Digital Foundry weighed in, which had a lot of people talking, had fights online, friendships being lost, just absolute insanity. And that's where to me this should just get so ridiculous when it's a video game console and people are like literally fighting like high school children over this stuff. But this is what Digital Foundry is saying overall. We have this article here. Xbox at GDC 2026, Windows and console coverage for the next generation. And in here, I believe this is their article where they talk about it being uh, their PC or whatever. So they go on here and say, we're a long way off from the launch of the next generation of Xbox, but GDC 2026 saw Microsoft break cover with actual detail, not just on its new hardware, but a new converged paradigm of gaming development. While talking in broad strokes, we still learned plenty about what had previously been described by Sarah Bond as the largest technical leap you'll ever see in a hardware generation, which is still kind of interesting. What is that leap? Well, we've been hearing a lot of big stuff coming out of it, RDNA 5, all of the the strong hardware under the hood. And like it'll be a nice leap, but it will probably also be pricey. But at the same time, Microsoft is streamlining the development process by effectively aligning Xbox with PC, which I think is actually a very smart move. Let's talk about the hardware details first. We already knew that Microsoft had partnered with AMD in developing a next generation console SoC, and it has been developed in tandem with Microsoft's DirectX team. With the first truly major revision on the API since DX12 Ultimate that tied in with the launch of the Xbox Series consoles, there's also commitment to work graph model, essentially the ability for GPU to act more autonomously without as much reliance on the CPU. That's pretty cool because that is like the whole thing with consoles. When you have that SoC, it's like they're both working together. I'm not exactly sure how development works for it. How do you control the games to be optimized for CPU and GPU thing? But that's probably you have less control on the console comparatively, obviously, when you're developing games for PC and everything is separate. But apparently, with this, they're going to make it more in line with the development for the PC side, which obviously breaks down those overall barriers for it. They say we're also told about an order of magnitude improvement for ray tracing performance. So we've gone over all of this before. Effectively, it's an admission that the future of graphics is no longer about scaling shader codes in line with capabilities of silicon production models. It's about dedicated hardware for massive improvements in ray tracing, with machine learning playing an ever more important role. And then they ask about the AI and stuff. And from a strategic viewpoint, I find it very interesting. While it's hardly an official partnership with all three firms, that we're seeing is basically a union of firms posing resources to compete with Nvidia. AMD and Sony have Project Amethyst, which is going to be their upscaling. It's going to be AI, all of that. And then you have Microsoft here that they're working as well with AMD for whatever they're going to have under the hood, and they're going to have AI upscaling and everything along those lines that everybody right now is complaining about with DLSS 5, which I will say DLSS 5 does kind of look this kind of look actually weird. But the big question here um, is speculation territory. Now, owners of the next gen Xbox console will likely get the Microsoft's equivalent to SteamOS, and Project Helix will present as a console, but it will be running Windows. Think a more tightly defined version of the ROG Ally X front end. Conversely, PC owners can opt into the Xbox experience via the newly announced Xbox mode. Whether you're playing on PC or Project Helix, multiple game stores will be available, but I suspect the more time you spend in the Xbox mode on PC, the higher the likelihood Microsoft is looking to integrate you more into the ecosystem. And then on a general level, the size of the console. So we talk about this all the time, and we'll get into some sales stuff after as well. I find this hilarious because it's like when we talk about PlayStation and pulling back from PC and they're saying it's about selling more consoles and all of this, their consoles are still selling very well. They're top sellers, but the console audience is static. So for them pulling games off PC, I don't think it has anything to do with Steam Machine. I don't think it has anything to do with Project Helix. I don't think it has anything to do with trying to sell more consoles. I think it simply has to do with the fact that they have not done a great job at growing their audience outside of the PlayStation console. And even though they made $2 billion, they're saying it's like 1% or 2% of the revenues. But you're seeing some of the numbers on those games and they could potentially be better. I think it has everything to do basically with the amount of money they've lost on games as a service, with the failure of a bunch of games that they greenlit had to cancel, and their margins and their costs skyrocketed with not able to make money off of those games. So they're trying to protect their margins. They're trying to reduce costs in so many different ways. If obviously they are potentially canceling the development of PC games. So that's what I think it is. I think they're trying to protect their margins. They're trying to reduce costs without having to shut down more studios and fire more people, and then they can go out and say, look how many consoles we're selling. Look at how strong the PlayStation console ecosystem is, and they can potentially show higher margins that way for the future of investment. Because if you think about it realistically, it's like what company, what publicly traded company, no matter who you are, looks at $2 billion and says, we just made $2 billion. Yet our other side of the business is also thriving and being very successful. It's not really growing where it needs to grow, but it's still very successful So let's just cancel the growth from these other sector unless there's something else going on that they are trying to do here. And I think personally it's just to protect their margins. There's still I feel like people look at PlayStation as not being a public company where they don't have to see the line go up. They can just sit there and appeal to protecting the brand and to the fanboys and stuff. They still need to see growth. They're going to have to eventually find other ways of growth going forward into the future. Who knows what that'll be, but I don't think it is going to be in the console audience, especially if the price of consoles do go up. They're going to have to try to monetize their console players even more. But if less people are playing on the console, when consoles become more expensive in the future and we're seeing it being stagnant, they're going to have to figure out something else for how they're going to grow their audience. But they continue here. In the meantime, Microsoft also aims to hold on to its existing Xbox audience, and not just by releasing a new console. Jason Ronald's talk also discussed game preservation, so that part sounds really, really good. We've gone over all of this stuff before, but the game preservation is going to be huge, especially if they're able to bring game preservation to PC. And it says a lot of questions remain unanswered, but it's worth remembering that it's still the early days and they're laying the groundwork for the next generation, and they're under no real pressure to show their full hand right now. And with leads us on to the final piece of firm information that the news that Alpha Project Helix hits in 2027. So they talk about that stuff, and they talk about the Xbox PC side of things, and it seems like they do believe it is more of a PC. Now, reality is the next Project Helix is a PC, but it is also a console. Depending on what games or what side of it that you're going to be on, and I guess how you're playing it. The development side will be the more interesting thing, because if they're developing the game for from what we've heard so far is how it's going to work is that you can develop the game one way. You can develop it for PC, put it through the GDK, and then it just kind of sends the game out and compiles it for all of the other platforms out there. And I think that's because you look at what is currently on the market, and developing games for PC and console are relatively similar. I mean, they're using the same architecture. I'm not the most techie person in the world, but if I can tell that that is a thing. So if there's somebody in the chat who develops games, wants to explain that more, but reality is, what is there the massive difference between developing a game for Series X and PC? There isn't. There's like a very small difference. Same with developing a game for PS5 and for PC, with both having the same architecture, both using AMD, both having um, the upscaling tech in it. Even PSSR is in collaboration with AMD. That upscaling tech is going to be very similar to what's on the next Xbox. It'll just be named something else. And we're seeing some pretty good stuff here from PSSR too. So that gives pretty good hope as to what is going to be coming in the future for PS6 as well as for Project Helix, which is going to be massive because obviously DLSS 5 was just announced. Now, one of the things that I feel like everybody forgets about, especially when they just showed off DLSS 5, is NVIDIA and how they are super deceptive in the way that they announce and market things, even with their GPUs. And then you have to wait until people actually get their hands on their technologies and the stuff that they announce to see if it really lives up to what they are saying. DLSS 5 is absolutely another one of those things. You saw people just thinking it was the most amazing thing in the world. I think DLSS 5, a lot of the examples they showed, I did not like. I did not like it at all. It looked like AI companions. If you ever been on X, it's such a like it's such a platform now that has you're always seeing things you don't want to see on it, but you're scrolling through, you're getting these ads for like AI stuff, and it's super annoying. But it looks like a lot of the characters within these ads on X for AI, it just has that look to it. And to me, unless the developer can completely control how that does end up looking, it's going to be. I don't think it's going to end up looking all the same, and I don't think it's going to end up being a good thing. But if there is a lot more control to it, then we'll see. Maybe there could be some good results that do end up coming out of it. Uh, it's the technology itself from just where we are right now does seem kind of cool, but like, yeah, I'm not very excited about DLSS 5, if I'm being honest. Some people are. I just personally are not. I'm personally am not. I think it's going to be. I think it may. I think it may actually be what people are afraid about. There's some more information here. So we have this here. Where's the article that I have? There's an IGN article, and then there's a YouTuber, Daniel Owen, who seems to know his stuff on this, and basically DLSS 5 is essentially just a filter from. So it says this looks like DLSS 5 was an AI gen filter after all, which based with Nvidia, and you had all the influencers that like it's so obvious when you're a paid influencer on this stuff, where it's like you just it's just so obvious. But anyway, it says YouTube creator Daniel Owen asked NVIDIA some questions regarding DLSS 5, and if essentially just takes a single 2D frame with motion vectors as input to generate the output frame. It says the amount of buzzwords Jensen Wong said, like neural rendering, content control, generative AI, and generative control at the geometry level, just to end up admitting that DLSS 5 is what everyone suspected, an AI filter on top of your video games. And he says basically because it just takes a 2D frame plus motion vectors as input. Like again, I'm not a technical person, but from everything that he was explaining, it basically is just going to be a AI filter over your character. And why I don't think this is good is because of the AI stuff that people hate, but also because the Resident Evil example they use, like I think she looked terrible personally. Like for the background looked okay, but I think like her face just looked so generic and fake, and you're gonna see so many models that end up looking like that. Again, unless there is more to this. But right now it doesn't seem like it is. And we'll see if developers end up using DLSS 5. I just wanted to quickly talk about that because right now you saw a lot of pushback. You saw a lot of people just saying the outrage was only because it was AI and the AI slop argument, which I will say it's hard to tell who's performatively outraging and who actually cares. I think this one, there was a lot of actual real justified outrage, or to some extent, because yeah, we'll wait and see until it drops. But and then the way that they market it, it's never going to end up being as good as the way that it showed with those few games. It just won't. It's a video. It's like everything they do. It's never as good as they do end up marketing it. And in fact, Strauss Zelnick, I believe, talked about AI, and he was saying basically that it's laughable. People think that AI is going to be able to build games like GTA, which he's completely correct on that. This was an interview here. With the game business, and Take-Two CEO interviewed. The notion that AI can make GTA is laughable. Says creating a hit of that magnitude does require human engagement and creativity. The notion that somehow new tools would allow an individual to push a button and generate a hit and bring it to many millions of consumers around the world is a laughable notion. It's just never been the case with entertainment. And right now in music, there are programs that allow you to put out a prompt to get a professionally recorded song spit back at you. And it's so true, but you can tell what those songs, like how bad they are whenever they do end up dropping. And it sounds like a song, but I defy you to listen to it more than once. It's great to send as a greeting card to your partner on her birthday, but that's about it. So Take-Two and Strauss Zelnick are basically saying that AI is never going to be able to build games from the ground up, which I think is one of the things that is people's fears going forward to AI. How will this be utilized by how will this be utilized by developers? Because you're not going to be able to build something good from the ground up. There's use for AI in gaming. People who say there's no use for it at all are wrong. They're already using it in gaming. Like there are already tons of people, tons of developers, basically all of them probably are using it in some way to help them improve the process of developing their games, getting rid of like the monotonous stuff that you don't really need to be creative to do. Will it take over some people's jobs? Probably, but that's just kind of the way technology just ends up working at the end of the day. It's always been the case. But from the non-creative roles of just like duplicating the same asset over and over again, AI it comes in is perfect for that. AI will come in and help things adding to the game world that's not important. People will see it and get outraged. Like I think there was a picture of Crimson Desert. They use AI to generate something. I don't know exactly what that was for because I haven't played it yet, but like things like that, AI will be used so that a human doesn't have to create it. And that's just the reality of where everything is going. And I don't think it's all bad. I don't think it's all bad, especially when you're seeing layoffs and closures and the amount of games that get canceled now because of rising costs. They're trying to figure out some way to reduce costs and still be able to have similar output, and AI is going to play a role in that. But yeah, DLSS 5, I'm skeptical of it. We'll see. I'm not totally against it if developers can utilize it in a way that makes games actually look really, really good. From what we're seeing and what we're hearing right now is that really won't be the case from the tech, but we'll see. We will see what happens. We'll see what happens. Um, yeah, NVIDIA confirmed to him that it's a primarily a filter. So like that's where I think it does come in that it could be an issue. If it's just primarily a filter, then a developer just puts that filter on, then everything is going to look the same. It's going to look like those. It's going to look like those Instagram videos where people get tricked by the way people are look in the pictures and stuff because they all have the filter on them. I hope that's not the case. That's just my extreme skepticism on it right now. But I will keep an open mind for when it drops, and I was going to completely write it off, but either way, we'll see. All right, video game market. We have the new numbers for February from Circana, Mapis could tell us to exactly where everything is. So there's a lot of stuff here. There's actually a lot of stuff to go through here. You always good information here from. We have top games, all of that. So we'll just go through that for a bit here. Nothing surprising. One thing that is funny though is especially with the whole rumor. So there's a new rumor that's going around for PlayStation, and it's fake, I would say. Pretty much 100% fake. Although people need to differentiate between whether they're going to do something and whether it makes sense to do something. Just PlayStation doesn't always make sense, but I think building a launcher, if they want to keep everybody within their ecosystem, building a launcher for PC does make sense. But will they do it? Who knows? Um, but we have some of the numbers here overall for the video game industry. Let me just pull this up here. So Matt Piscatella on Blue Sky for February 2026. Video game market highlights. This is from Circana and the top selling games, where the market is growing and everything. Resident Evil Requiem debut is the best selling video game of 2026, and overall spending in February grew slightly when compared to a year ago, reaching 4.6 billion. This is still how big this industry is. $4.6 billion in spending, as you can see here, whether that's video game content, hardware, and accessories all added all together, 4.6 billion. And he says that Requiem's blockbuster debut and a 27% of boost in subscription services helped video game content spending stay flat when compared to 2025. So again, when people are talking about Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, Nintendo Switch Online, any other subscription services out there, and they say that it's failure, nobody wants this, and everything. From what we have seen over the last number of months, maybe even years, I'm not sure exactly how long it goes back, but subscription spending is what has helped the video game industry make more money and grow and at least stay flat comparatively to year over year. I think this was the same thing last month, and my opinion is simply things are just way too expensive now for games. Like you're looking at, do I buy a brand new game at $70 in the US and in other places in the world? You have $80 and $90 or whatever, versus do I subscribe even for $30 for a month or over time, 2-3 months or whatever it is, and get access to all of this stuff where I'll get way more value for my money. And so subscription services are still they're going to continue to grow. And I think even when you take a look at Game Pass itself and they raised the price to $30 and you had all of the fake outrage over people saying that they were never going to play it on Game Pass ever again. Now, fake outrage in the sense of like the performative side, I don't like the price raise. I have to always say that because people will take it out of context and be like, you support corporations raising their prices. I absolutely do not. But um what happened with Game Pass basically was the man there was no mass exodus. That part was pretty obvious. And a lot of people probably just downgraded to premium, which they suspected what would happen. And then people, which made up for the amount of people that potentially stopped subscribing to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So, and then even if people unsubscribe from Game Pass Ultimate, the ones that stayed there were paying more potentially because you don't ever is a trick, guys. Like you don't actually need to pay $30 to get Game Pass Ultimate. I'm sure most of you do know that, right? You don't actually have to pay the $30. They're all the codes on those secondary marketplace sites still work. They haven't stopped those. You can get it for far, far cheaper than actually paying the $30, which I think a lot of people do, but there are some that potentially still paid $30. And when you see subscription service, any subscription service, some people just leave it on auto renew and don't even know that they're getting auto renewed, which is like you got to always go and check what you're doing. I always, whenever I subscribe to anything, I turn off auto renew instantly. First thing I do after a subscription, just so if I want to keep it, then I'll just go and I'll pay for it every month. But the amount of people that if there is a section that still paid $30, that makes up for anyone who is leaving. So subscription services are still doing good. They're going to continue to do good. I think cloud's going to continue to grow. Is this my preferred way to game? No, but it's just the reality of it because things are so expensive these days for the prices of games. And then going into next generation, it will also I play out that way. But you can see here 27 boosts in subscription services helped them stay flat. In hardware, the Switch 2 drove 22% year-on-year spending growth. 22%. The Switch 2 is selling so well, and this kind of you could argue is contrary to the argument that the rising costs are getting people to stop or be more wary of buying consoles, but the Switch 2 still released at the same price or even less expensive than the Series X and PS5. So it's still way under that threshold. So the comparison, but look, the Switch 2 went up in price. So people are still going to buy the next Xbox and PlayStation as much as they did last gen because they don't care. I don't think that plays out at all. The Switch 2 is still $400 or $450. So it's still in like that threshold of where people are like, okay, they can afford that. But like when you're getting to $800, $900, just how much has the PS5 Pro sold? That'll be a good indication. It's $750. The percentage of PlayStation sales, PS5 sales that are PS5 Pro is going to be small. And then you have to, I would say, translate that over to the PlayStation 6 and then to this Project Helix. So console sales are, I don't think they're for PlayStation and Xbox are going to be as much as they were going forward because of the pricing. So they're going to have to find other ways to expand subscriptions, cloud, all that's going to be the way that they do it. And of course, expanding out to PC. So here are the top selling games. Not shocking. Resident Evil Requiem. But here's the thing, right? This is what's killing new games is the same games are still the top selling games, the black hole games. NBA 2K26 this is for all of them. Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Top selling games. Resident Evil Requiem, NBA 2K26, Call of Duty, Black Ops 7, Minecraft. You have to buy I may sound really stupid here, but do you have to buy Minecraft? Or is it free to play? I don't play Minecraft. I played it way, way back, but I haven't played it in forever. Is this still? Do you have to still buy it? I guess yes, you do because it's on the list. So it's number 4. Helldivers 2. Whoa, that's shot up. That shot up from 15 to number 5. I wonder what's going on. Did Helldivers 2 release some new DLC or something? So that's good for them. Then you got FC 26, Battlefield 6, Madden. So like the top 10 games are just littered with the Black Hole yearly release games. That's what everyone's playing, and that they play that throughout the entire year. So if you're like a high guard, which have to shut down, it's like almost impossible to break in through these 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 black hole games that are current there. You have to buy it. Okay, it's good to know. And then here's the best selling premium game. So this was specifically top 20 best selling games. This is the for February. This is the year to date games, and again, it's the list is the same. Resident Evil, which just dropped, and that game sold extremely well. But then you have NBA, Call of Duty, Madden, Minecraft, EA Sports, FC, Battlefield. Grand Theft Auto 5 is still there. That's crazy. Grand Theft Auto 6 on the horizon. Grand Theft Auto 5 is still a top selling game, being out all of these years. So that's nuts. Forza Horizon 5 is still in the top selling games this year. Forza Horizon 6 is going to break, is going to be on top of that list. Hardware spending increased 22% when compared to a year ago to 326 million. Spending on the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware offset year on year. So here's it. Switch 2 is what's keeping hardware sales up. It offset year-on-year declines across PS5, Switch, and Xbox Series consoles. PS5 again led the hardware market in both unit and dollar sales. More expensive, and then they sell a lot of them, so they're going to lead there. And again, destroys any narrative that you see fanboys still pushing out there that, oh man, they are pulling back from PC because it's going to kill the console hardware. It has never been the case. It never will be the case. No matter how much people want to believe that, we have this data and statistics, and even when the rumor came out about the potentially PlayStation pulling games off of PC, even Matt Piscatella agreed it's not to do with it's not going to have any effect on the hardware. It is probably to protect their margins, which is the main reason why they would end up doing it. But PS5 again, they're leading in the hardware market. PC has no effect on console sales. They're not pulling games off the PC, if that's the truth, because it's still rumor at this point because of console sales. Switch 2 repeated its January performance, ranking second across both measures. Hardware, with 9 months in the market, the life-to-date install base of the Switch 2 is trending 45% ahead of the original Switch, which is pretty impressive for them. And then video game content spending was flat when compared to February 2025. At 4 billion, non-mobile subscription content spending increased 27% compared to a year ago, offsetting declines experienced across other segments. Interesting. So you have non-mobile subscription content, which would mean console and PC subscription content, I would assume. Resident Evil Requiem had debuted as the best-selling game of the year. Not shocking, that sold like crazy. And Requiem were 60% higher than the launch week of Resident Evil Village. Unit sales increasing by more than 40%. Interesting. Oh, wow. There's so much here. So much, a bunch of stuff here. Doom the Dark Ages lifted from 92nd on the aggregated PC storefront best-selling games chart in January to number 9, helped in part by the id Software anniversary sale promotion. Yeah, that makes complete sense. And then here are top 10 best-selling games for PlayStation. It's the same as the other ones. God of War Sons of Sparta came in at number 6. So I wonder how many units that sold. But yeah, Resident Evil, Call of Duty, NBA, FC, Madden, Grand Theft Auto, Battlefield, Minecraft, and then they have Sons of Sparta and Ghost of Yota on the list as well. Then for Xbox, Resident Evil, NBA, Helldivers 2 jumped from 10 to number 3. So a lot of people jumping back into Helldivers 2. I don't know if there's an update for that because I haven't played it on Xbox. I have it on Steam, and I haven't jumped in a while, so I don't know if there's a brand new update for it. Black Ops, Battlefield 6, Red Dead Redemption 2, Madden, FC 26, NHL 26 randomly jumped up, and maybe because of the Olympics, I don't know. And then Nintendo, some Nintendo games. So there is the list of stuff. Nothing too crazy there. Everything is basically what it was expected. The hardware basically stagnant. The subscriptions going up. The black hole games are the top games, and the industry needs to find ways to somehow move from that. But we'll see what happens. We will see what does end up happening here in the future. Yeah, let me just see if there's any comments here. Other stuff I want to talk about here. Damn, ponies are really starving if Sons of Sparta is at 6. Well, there's How many games do they release a year, right? From first party? 1, 2, I'd say. I think they're gonna do 2 this year with Saros from their first party devs. So Saros and Wolverine. Um, that game didn't get great reviews either. It didn't get great reviews as well. All right, there's a lot. Oh, we do have some Xbox executives leaving. I don't know if anybody saw that. What I found funny was one of them basically went to social media right away and debunked all of the conspiracy theories, uh, basically saying she found a new job. But and she kind of called out, I think she called out like Tom Warren as well, which he didn't really do anything. He just posted her LinkedIn um, that she was leaving because she made a post on LinkedIn, and that was supposed to. I'll pull it up here. Pull it up here before we jump into it. Every time an executive leaves a company, especially as big of a company as Microsoft, you realize that like a lot of people just they think that like these things are abnormal, which is super weird. Executives move around all the time. It's not because they got fired. It's not because they were doing a bad job. It's just literally the way that it is in the corporate world. They find other stuff. They go on to new places. But here's the article. 2 more senior leaders exit Microsoft. One thing I will say, maybe there could be something here that maybe Ashish Sharma was like, yeah, we're retooling a little bit, and they knew that that was coming. But I don't think so based off of what they're saying online. But we'll see. So they lost 2 of their senior team, corporate VP of partnerships and business development and marketing, Lori Wright. So I think she dealt a lot with third party stuff and getting third party deals and third party games, which I mean, I don't know, like, so I can't put a pin on the exact work she did, but she's leaving. And then, and general manager of gaming at AI at Xbox, Hai Yan Zhang, which is funny because the whole thing you would think, oh, she's turning everything into AI. Why would she get rid of the general manager of gaming AI unless she's gonna replace it with somebody who she thinks will do a better job. But Wright is leaving after an incredible decade, she writes here, and she puts out a whole post. So they're losing those 2 people. But what's funny is right away, where did I just pulled it up here? Right away, because Tom Warren posted this. Haiyan Zhang, general manager at gaming AI at Xbox, is leaving Microsoft after 13 years, and Zhang is joining Netflix's gaming team. So she found a new job. Like that's why she's leaving. She got another opportunity. Why not? You've grown at Microsoft. You've helped to grow in a certain rate for a long time. Probably bored. Probably want to find something new. And she spawns right away. It's just a new job, dude. Apparently, people do that. And he says, haha, I always track veterans leaving. Good luck at Netflix. And this person says, it's always a metric to follow. The rats leaving a ship. It's like, sometimes it's just all about me and nobody else. So she's basically trying to debunk something else. And she also, I think, says this. She responded here. Just don't bundle me into weird conspiracy theories. It's been an amazing experience at Microsoft, and it's time to go on to some new adventures. So basically, she's trying to get out of the conspiracy theories right away. She says Tom Warren screenshot of my LinkedIn post, and some folks are conspiracy theorizing it. What the fuck? Posting here my farewell love letter to Microsoft. Today was my last day on campus, and after spending 13 years in this place, choosing to leave this company and these amazing people was the hardest decision of my life. And at the same time, I always said I want to go on many adventures in my life, moving from Australia to Canada to Italy to SF to London, then Redmond with Microsoft, now onto a new journey. And then she just talks about her journey. So she's trying to turn off all the conspiracy theories because you know what people are going to say. This is more they're sunsetting Xbox. They're getting rid of everybody. They're just getting ready to turn this to an AI box. The other thing people were running with was the whole Copilot for Xbox, thinking that this was something that Asha Sharma implemented into Xbox, and that if you said that she was going to turn Xbox into an AI box, and you were correct, which is if you don't follow any of the stuff, it's so easy to just make up lies as to what is going on. Copilot has been in Xbox and was being tested on their PC app forever. Obviously, they were going to bring that to the entire ecosystem because that's what everything is going to be in one place. Although I don't even have really any issues with Copilot on Xbox, to be honest. Like, if you want to use it, use it. It's like using a guide. The only issue I would say, and this is a fair argument with that, is that it could potentially take away from like YouTubers or content creators who make really good guides. Now Copilot basically just scraping that information. So that part, yeah, that could be an issue. And I actually think about it, but the actual premise of having something to help you get through a game if you want to use it is not the major AI, I think, um, to be concerned about. So 2 executives leaving. We'll see if they replace them. One of them in AI, one of them in partnerships. I'm more interested in the partnerships one because obviously building AI partnerships at Xbox is going to be a very important thing going forward. So who are they going to get to do that, and will they be able to do as good of a job? I think overall, Xbox has done an okay job this generation. There's still been games that miss the platform, not games that I ever really care about, so it's not a big deal to me, but they got to make sure that next gen number gets less and less, and that's why I think they're changing the entire development side of things and making it easier for devs so they have less excuse to potentially try and miss the platform. I see that there is a massive debate again on PC versus console. Is the next Xbox a P? I actually did a poll. In the poll, many of you got the correct answer. Many of you did get the correct answer, although I don't. It's just hilarious. Because when you think about what they're doing, I'm going to pull up the poll here 1 second. I'm about to pull up this poll. Actually, you know what? Most people even answered it doesn't matter. A lot of smart people on my channel. Now, you could get this wrong by answering something else, but is Project Helix a console or a PC? Console 36%, PC 16%, and then it doesn't matter for 48%. Here is my entire thing with this debate. This is my entire thing. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It literally doesn't matter. I don't know why this is such a big point of contention amongst people. Okay, so it is a point of contention amongst the extreme online people, basically. Outside of Twitter, it doesn't matter. 99% of people will not care whether this gets classified as a console or a PC. The only thing that they will care about is, does it play my games? And does it play them well? That's literally it. Can they plug it into their TV? Can they launch their game? And can they play their game seamlessly? That's all that matters at the end of the day. So this whole debate, to me, because we don't actually know fully well, like we don't know the full details of this. But the way I look at it is that what we do understand is they're building a custom SoC, which is for consoles, because if you look at the Series X and the PS5, they have SoCs. They don't have a GPU and CPU, and that stuff's not separate. It's all in that one system on chip. They're building a custom SoC with AMD that you're going to be able to develop games for the PC side, compile those games, and they're going to be able to run on Project Helix, and it'll run like a console when you plug it into your TV. You'll also be able to access the PC operating system, and in the PC operating system, there will be the access to your entire catalog of games across all of the different storefronts. Because right now, it's actually not that crazy. Think about it. We talk about the high, like there's a lot of technical side of things, but as I say, I'm not really a insanely technical person. I'm just trying to understand it the best that I can for my armchair analysis. But right now, like you could unlock if Xbox wanted to, technically they could unlock the Series X and you could have Windows on there. Right? Like that is something that they could do at this point right now. So does that mean that the Series X could be a PC as well? So you're going to get access to the PC side with the question I have on that though is this only going to be the full screen experience, or are they going to give you like desktop access? I'm sure you'll find ways to be able to get into desktop access. And then are they also going to have a console user interface, a console side that's like the current Series X, and you can switch between both if you want? And can you access like your Steam games on the console user interface if that is a thing? Or is it only gonna have one UI? It's going to be that Xbox FSE, and they're gonna fine tune it to be more like the console experience, and that's the only access that you are going to get. That is the stuff here that 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 will questions that still need to be answered on that. So, but the reality is there whether it's a console or PC doesn't matter. If you plug it into your TV, it runs your games, the games play fine. Like that's all that matters at the end of the day. Based off of the definition from Merriam-Webster, from Oxford, like all of these dictionaries, which they determine what language means, right? Like if you want to know what a word means, you have to look it up in a dictionary. It's not like what you decide in your own head what the word means. There's actually official definitions of what a console is. Under an official definition, Project Helix, no matter how people want to spin it, is a console. Because the official definition, I gotta find where I posted this. I've been posting a lot of stuff recently. The official definition, this is Merriam-Webster. This is the official definition. An electronic system that connects to a display such as a television set and is used primarily to play video games. And I see the comments. Well, does that mean if I plug my PC into my TV, it's a console as well? I mean, according to the official definition, if you take a PC and you plug it into your TV and you're primarily using it to play video games, you're loading it up, you're sitting back, and you're playing video games on it only, then by definition, it could be considered a console. I don't know what people argue about here. This is like an official definition. So this is all just it's all just subjectivity. I think also the other thing is it's like people are wondering how games are going to be developed for this and how that's going to affect how the games are going to run. Is there really a difference between how games run on PC and on console today? Are really at that point where people are like, "Oh, well, look, the console version is optimized for this box, so there's less chance that it will run shitty." I mean, games on PC run far better than they do on console the majority of the time now. This isn't like where PC was super hard to get games running and develop for and all that and stuff like that. So, um, who's Ahmed? Block Ahmed. Okay, I'll time this guy out. I don't care. Sorry guys, I don't have a mod in here right now. Let me see here. Um, so the whole debate to me is insane. Who cares? How are games gonna run at the end of the day? How are games gonna run? Consoles are low settings on PC. Exactly. Exactly. That's the thing, right? It's like to me, it's actually more exciting. Let's just say we can call it a PC if people want to call it a PC, but like to me, it's more exciting if Project Helix comes out and you get to have higher settings on your games. And they just you plug this box into your TV, you grab your controller, you turn it on with the Xbox button, and you're jumping into a game at higher settings because it has more functionality. If you want to call it a PC, like I couldn't care less. I'm gonna call it a console. It's gonna be the next Xbox console. So that's when I look at the definition, that's what it is. the way the developers are going to develop games for it, to me, that's way more interesting. And we can argue, okay, if they're developing it for PC and they can just compile the game and it launches on all of the different platforms, developers are going to love that, I think. It would be super cool to hear from a real dev on what they think about that. Because to me, just from thinking about it from my perspective, is that if you don't have to take a game, develop it like 3 times or basically develop it once, because I believe like they develop it on a lead platform, whether that is PC or PlayStation or whatever, and then they have to optimize it for all of the different SKUs out there. If they just do it once and then it can be optimized instantly, or at least if it even reduces optimizing it one extra time, that is something that helps reduce the cost of something that the gaming industry is absolutely running into. So it's an exciting thing more than anything. But the whole arguments online that we are seeing are just they're absolutely insane. People are losing their minds over this and it's stupid. Does the console, will Project Helix run your games well? Will the games be able to be played? Will it be seamless? That's more important. Will the experience of jumping onto Project Helix when I want to play a video game be the same as it is as jumping onto my Series X right now? That will be the most important thing. How will the experience be? Rather than in the technical terms, it is a PC or a console. Does not matter. Does not matter to me at all. You're gonna be able to play GTA 6 on it before PC gets it. So yeah, that's we'll see. We'll see. That would be pretty big. Hey, what's up, Mav? What's fun speculation? Yeah, all that matters is the end user experience. I agree. To me, that's the thing. If you plug your console into your TV, you turn it on and it runs well and the games play, that's what matters at the end of the day. It'll be annoying if it you turn on, then you have to sit through like some of the PC stuff, like the shader compilation and issues like that. But I'm guessing they're working to that not being the case at all with Project Helix. They want you to have the console experience on it, regardless of whether you're playing a PC game or whether you're playing a console game. So to me, that's pretty exciting. Um, but yeah, we'll have to see what officially happens when they do end up dropping it, if that's the case. Because like I talked about at the beginning of this stream, you can't have the issues that happened to Crimson Desert at the launch of a game on the next Xbox console. It's just not going to fly. So they have to make sure that stuff does get worked out. And GTA 6. So we don't know, but it should be running on Project Helix when it does drop, and it should be the best possible version of it because it'll be way higher powered. And if that'll be a very good indication. I think that's a very, very good indication. Unless if GTA 6 launches or GTA 6 is on Project Helix and it still hasn't been released for PC yet, then that'll be a very good indication, I guess, of the games that it'll be able to run. But we'll have to wait and see when that does end up dropping. What are the issues with Crimson Desert? The issue that I saw popping up from a lot of people was that you couldn't pre-install it or preload it if you pre-ordered it on the Xbox app on PC, and then people were having troubles actually launching the game. But I believe it's all been fixed now. But you saw a lot of comments online saying, "Okay, I'm just canceling my pre-order. I'm gonna go buy it on Steam and all of this stuff." This was specifically for the Xbox app on PC where these issues were coming in. And then Microsoft or Xbox support put out an update to the app, and they fixed it, and you can launch the game now. But you can't have that at launch of a brand new, highly anticipated AAA game when Project Helix. You can't have it now. Those things should be worked out on the PC app. But if that does end up happening with the console, it's gonna be a shit show. They say it'll play this gen's console game, so it should play it. Yeah, there you go. So it should be able to play it and should be able to play it better. Hopefully, it'll be. I wonder how the Series X games will run and look on Project Helix. Will they get like the same treatment that Xbox One games got for backwards compatibility and all that? Are they gonna be able to add a new settings to them? That would be all cool to see too. Stuttering on the or Crimson Desert is stuttering on the Pro. I don't know. I have no. Console wars is now pointless, isn't it? Yes, the console wars have always kind of been pointless, to be honest. To me, the console wars that were pointless after the well, from a technical standpoint, I would probably say after the 360 and PS3 days where those games were like completely different in like the architecture that their games were being developed for. But after the Xbox One, PS4, even then, they were they were useful in the PS4, Xbox One days for getting people to lock into a digital library, which I mean, out of all the things that Phil Spencer has said, he said a lot of things that haven't come true. You could say he's lied about stuff or whatever. The one of the most honest things Phil Spencer ever said was losing Xbox One was the worst gen because you lost the people who decided to lock their digital library to a different platform, which is almost impossible to get back when you spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a digital platform. But yeah, console wars have been pointless for a while. I think people still think we're in like the Sega and Nintendo days. Like if you popped in a cartridge, same game from on a Genesis, and then you pop the same game into a Super Nintendo, they literally were different games. They sounded differently. They had different colors, palettes, and stuff. We're not there anymore. So it does get a little bit pointless. Okay, so that's kind of all I wanted to talk about today. So I'm probably gonna end the stream here. I do appreciate everybody coming out. This is the second time I've been doing this. Again, it's Saturdays. I'm gonna try to do it Saturdays. I'm gonna try to do it between 11 and 12. Like that's when I will try to start. Sorry about the wait today. It's when you have two little kids running around, things just pop up, and you want to make sure you're not getting interrupted when you are streaming. So, that's what I'm gonna try to do Saturdays for about an hour, hour and a half, and we'll go over stuff that's happening in the gaming industry. Whether I talked about it on my videos or not, we'll go deeper into it. But I appreciate everybody coming out. I think we got about 80 people out here today, so that's pretty awesome to see from somebody who's tried to stream and been terrible at being consistent at it. I'm going to try to be more consistent here. Appreciate you, Dominus, Chief. Appreciate you coming out, and everyone else in the comments, everything who has dropped by. One thing I will say, I'm gonna put out a thing on my community. I'll try to do like a poll of the week, but I'll also, if you guys have any suggestions, I'll put out a post on my community. If you want things that you want me to definitely talk about, let me know in the comments there because it just makes the stream more interactive stuff. So I would appreciate that. But I'm gonna end there, guys. Everyone have a good weekend. Play some games, have some fun, and I'll catch you guys later.